So typically when a trade goes down, I like to talk about it from each team's perspective in different videos, but I think this trade is just on the cusp of not being big enough to give both of these teams their own video, but I still want to talk about this. Basically, this is a Bobby Portis for Otto Porter swap. I know Jabari Parker is in the deal as well. We know the Wizards are going to decline his team option. Maybe they would bring him back, I don't know, but it would definitely be for less money. And what we have here is we have the Bulls going all in on a player who's very expensive in Otto Porter, but still has potential. And the idea is, can he be more than just a spot shooter who's a little too hesitant to shoot? Can he be a great off-ball player like Klay Thompson? Can he just get the ball in his hands and go to work more? Kind of like somebody like, let's say, Harrison Barnes in Dallas, but hopefully better than Barnes, because we assume that Otto's combination of shooting and potential dribbling could allow him to be a pretty good scorer. And the Bulls are content with taking on his $27 million to do that. And the Wizards are getting out of Otto's money, the idea being Portis is not going to cost anywhere near as much as Otto Porter will, and he could end up being a better player because Portis has a sense of aggressiveness to him, on top of the fact that he's improving with his jump shot and things like that, to where he could be a good player and he could give this Wizards team a bit of a jolt that they've desperately needed. And if this works out, they can basically get better, save money, and potentially give themselves a chance at keeping Bradley Beal and things like that. So I think I want to start this from Chicago's standpoint. This is a risk because Otto Porter is potentially a severely overpaid player. He is good, and I shouldn't even say potentially. At the moment, he is very overpaid. But this is, of course, a move where the Bulls are banking on Porter's future, and the team does make a little bit more sense now because with Portis playing behind Wendell and Markkanen, you could have argued that Portis would never be able to play his natural position of power forward. And now Otto comes in here. I'm going to refer to them by their first names from here on. So now Otto's in here, and he can play the 3 spot. He can be a shooter. Markkanen and Wendell can play as many minutes as possible. It makes sense, but it all comes back to the money. And if Otto just ends up being this 12 to 13 point guy who shoots like 3 to 4 threes a game when he really should be shooting like 10 threes a game, then that's going to be a problem because you kind of killed your salary, even with the cap going up and even with the fact that this team is not that expensive right now. It still hurts, and you got a guy who's not bad, but not really that great either. But, I mean, I remember looking at some advanced stats not too long ago where it said that Otto Porter's pick and roll numbers, and unfortunately this isn't up on NBA.com anymore, but for a time it was, and he was very efficient in pick and rolls. He was in like the 90th percentile. The problem was he only would run like 1 a game, and it made sense why. John Wall and Bradley Beal and Otto probably being a little too hesitant. So you think now on this Bulls team, we're going to have to see how good Jim Boylen really is as a coach in terms of X's and O's. But you think, Levine, sure, he likes to shoot, but he's not going to command the ball as much as John Wall does. Chris Dunn is not a guy who should have the ball all game the way Wall and Beal lately have. So perhaps that creates more opportunities for Otto. And the 2 bigs here with Lowry and Wendell, those are 2 guys who probably are going to be good rollers. And Markkanen, you have to assume, already a very good pop guy. I mean, I haven't seen his actual pick and pop numbers, but it makes a lot of sense for him to be good there. And I know Wendell's shooting has been maybe a little disappointing if you were expecting him to be an awesome shooter in his rookie season, but given that, and I know the guy's hurt right now, so who knows when he's going to play, but given that the hope is that he can be a shooter and he shoots 80% from the free throw line, that can come around too, and that can give Otto just more guys to work with in a pick and roll setting. But of course, Jim Boylen's going to have to get creative, and we just don't know right now. Zach LaVine is going to have to not chuck up bad shots and not hijack the offense, and Otto has to be more aggressive. I mean, sure, the Wizards could have done a better job of giving him the ball and encouraging him to handle, not just to shoot more, but he's got to do this too. I mean, he does seem to have a bit of a, I don't want to say a defeatist mentality, but he's very content and probably too content with just fitting in when it seems like, given his jump shot and his size, he can be so much more than that. So that's what the Bulls are banking on. Now with the Wizards, I mean, I said a bit of it earlier in the sense of Portis, where, number one, he plays way harder than Markieff Morris ever did. I mean, Markieff, there was that one season where he didn't suck for the Wizards, where Scott Brooks basically had to yell at him to just care more. That's not good, especially on a team that has such a, I don't want to say relaxed, but a team that just thinks they're so much better than they actually are, deserving of so much more praise than they actually are. Not the kind of guy you want in there with Markieff Morris. Now, Bobby Portis is coming in here, and we've already seen it on Twitter where, yeah, he's been making some jokes, but he also just cares way more than Markieff Morris does about basketball, where he'll attack the offensive glass, he'll go for some block shot in transition, he'll just find ways to motivate himself and improve himself, because he's gotten better every year of his career. I mean, in his rookie season, the guy shot 72% from the free throw line. This year, he's shooting about 79%. Not a drastic improvement, I know, but it is still an improvement, because some guys will get worse in that time frame. His three-pointers have gone from maybe he's good, maybe he isn't in his rookie season, and now this season he's taking about 3.5 a game, shooting 37%. So just these little improvements all along the way, while knowing that Portis just goes for it. That's what this Wizards team really needed. And I mean, I don't know what he's going to cost in the open market, but maybe it's only $9 million or something, $10 million, $11 million, something like that. To where if I was the Wizards, yeah, I would probably re-sign the guy. And looking at the Wizards' cap situation, once they turn down Jabari's option, they're going to be around $89 million. I'm assuming Dwight Howard accepts his. I do think Portis and probably Thomas Bryant should be the top priorities, because we have no idea if Dwight's going to play. And then also, again, this team just needs guys that play hard. And, I mean, I love Satoransky, so if they could keep him, that would be awesome. But the problem with him is, Scott Brooks has proven to me that he doesn't know what the hell he has in Satoransky, which is this guy who can play multiple positions, defend multiple positions, be an efficient player, and all that stuff. So if they let him go, I would still consider it to be a bad move. But given that Scott Brooks sucks, maybe it's not as much of a bad move. That could also open up Troy Brown. Still hasn't played. Apparently he's been injured lately or something, but Scott Brooks was not playing when he was healthy. So that could open up some more ball handling opportunities for him. He should have been getting them anyway, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing this does for the Wiz is it just opens up their options so much. I mean, when I made that video like a week ago talking about things they could do, I didn't think they'd be able to get out of Otto Porter's money the way they did. I mean, they're going to turn Otto's $27 million he's going to make next season or whatever it is into just so much less money. And they probably got a talent upgrade. So that's a hell of a move. It really is for the Wizards. Not to say it's a bad move for the Bulls. It's just a bit of a risk for a guy who could be making like $20 million more than he actually should for what he really gives you. So yeah, that's my take on this move.